Plasma bombardment, known colloquially as glassing, was the most devastating weapon ever employed during the Human Covenant War and beyond. These massive 100-meter wide plasma beams would be hurled down upon a planet's surface and, in a matter of days, would render it uninhabitable. Many of us have seen this destructive force throughout the Halo games, most notably in Halo Reach. But what is glassing? Well, today on Covenant Canon, we're about to explore what really happens when the Covenant glasses a planet. In the long history of the Covenant, they utilized two methods of glassing: orbital bombardment and low-altitude bombardment. When it comes to low-altitude bombardment, Covenant forces are fully engaged in the heat of battle on a planet's surface, with vessels descending into the atmosphere to provide support and air superiority for the ground forces. Vessels, like the CCS-class battlecruiser, would make more precise plasma strikes on enemy positions and holdouts, with larger vessels such as the CAS used to level entire cities. They are also equipped with excavation beams to excavate areas of importance, such as the portal to the Ark during the Covenant attack on Earth. When there is no need to deploy ground forces, Covenant warships would glass the planet from high orbit. Before a proper glassing is issued, a Covenant fleet must first achieve space superiority over a hostile world. While the Fleetmaster gives the orders to cleanse a planet, the final decision is usually up to the Minor San Shayum prophet assigned within the fleet. These prophets would typically perform ritualistic rites which would have the flagship carve a Covenant glyph upon the planet's surface. Once that is finished, the rest of the fleet is permitted to annihilate the planet. The largest ships within the fleet align themselves and guide the cleansing beams in an effective manner. What's important to remember is that the Covenant never fully glass a planet due to the amount of time and resources that would take. To glass a single continent would take a matter of weeks. Once discharged, the plasma rounds are guided towards the surface, contained in a magnetic bubble, and controlled by the ship's automation through miles of interference until it strikes the surface. Resembling titanic fireballs, these plasma lances are 100 meters across and strike the surface with a tremendous amount of speed and force. Anything within the vicinity of the blast are obliterated instantly, and the impact of the area would melt in a matter of seconds. The surrounding areas are blasted with intense heat and are burned, accompanied by intense radiation measured in the tens of millions of Roentgens. As the ground zero area cools, the surface forms into a glass-like substance known as lecateriolite. Forgive me for butchering that word. The aftermath of glassing is utter devastation. The Covenant's focus on cleansing is to destroy the entire ecosystem of a planet, and so they will invest a good deal in vaporizing any large bodies of water. The impact of the plasma beams will throw up millions of tons of ash and debris, causing the atmosphere to become saturated, blocking sunlight and subjecting it to an artificial winter. This may not happen for some time after the Covenant leave. The surface can take a considerable amount of time to cool, with Draco 3 taking a full 9 years. The end result is the same. The planet becomes nigh inhospitable to life, dooming any survivors of the Covenant to a harsh, bitter end. Throughout the Human Covenant War, areas of interest on human colonies were left intact for reasons of study or retrieval. However, this was not common, as only a handful of planets were partially glassed, and only when a foreigner artifact was discovered. After the Covenant glassed a planet, a shard from the surface was retrieved and placed within the Sanctum of the Hierarchs within High Charity. Glassing would be a common practice within the Covenant Navy from the very beginning of the Covenant till its fall in 2552. After the signing of the Peace Accords of 2552, glassing was mostly abandoned. However, some Covenant warlords continued the practice against human worlds, such as Cleel.